In this session, let's see what is RS-232 and its pin configuration. RS-232 is a serial communication system which is used to communicate between two devices. This standard has been introduced by Electronics Industry Association and Telecommunication Industry Association. RS stands for Recommended Standard. In earlier, RS-232 was called as EIA or TIA 232. RS-232 is used in automation system, computer system, network system and also in the driver circuit. If you see the pin diagram of RS-232, it is a 9-pin configuration, and in this 9-pin configuration only 3 pins are commonly used, that is 2, 3 and 5. 2 for receiving the data and 3 for transmitting the data and 5 for the ground. If we see the data rate of the RS-232, it is a 20 kilobits per second and it is a too slow for today's application. And the communication speed depends on the cable length. RS-232 can be communicated up to 50 meters, but it is not using for the long data transmission because of the low speed. RS-232 we can communicate only between the two devices. It follows the point-to-point communication systems. It cannot be communicated with the 2 or more devices, only 2 devices it will communicate. And the data transmission, if you see, means it can be transmit 110 to 92,1600 bits per second. The number of data bits will be 8. If you see the priority, it can give the mark, space, odd and even priority. And it can have 1 or 1.5 or 2 stop bits. RS-232 follows the encoding and decoding format. So it will encode the data and it will send to the other medium, and in other devices it will decode the energy to the bits. Transmitter and receiver must agree on encoding scheme and transmission timing. It commonly uses 8-bit data. Energy can be electric current or the radio waves. Transmission and receiving the speed should be same, otherwise the transmission will fail. Means the sending device and receiving device should have the same communication speed, or else the communication will fail. If we see the start and stop bit of the RS-232, so it will follow first the start with the start bit and the data, and after the data it will give the stop bit. So between the start and stop bit you will have a information, and it can be varied from the -15 to +15. -15 voltage will represent the 0 signal and +15 voltage will represent the I signal. RS-232 will follow the point-to-point communication. So it can send the data. After sending the data, it will receive the information. Sending data and receiving data at the same time is not possible. It also follows the master and slave operation. RS-232 will support for the all 3 communication type or a transmission type. It will support for the simplex transmission type and also for the full duplex transmission type and also for the off duplexation transmission types, depending on the speed of the transmitting data. So if we see the data transmission, why it is slow in this RS-232? Because the changes is not the instantaneous. Suppose if you are giving an low signal like this 1010, the change of the data, okay, the transmission, no, so it will take the little bit time for the updating the information. So it will take the delta t to delta plus t0 time for changing the one state to another state. If the cable is increased means it will delay, this delay also will increase. If we see the advantages of RS-232, it is a less cost compared to other cables, easier for the network and widely used in the communication systems, and it can convert to any other signals using repeaters. If you see the disadvantage of this RS-232, it is because of the distance. It can be used in maximum distance of 15 feet and it can communicate only two devices. If the device is sending the data is faster than the other device set to receive, frame error will occur. Okay, as I told you, if your sending device and the receiving device will not have this same speed means it will give the error. RS-232 hardware samples the line multiple times during a single bit transmission. It reduces the transmission speed. If the samples do not have the same voltage, a framing error occurs and its speed is only 56 kilobits per second. Let's see the difference between this RS-232 and RS-485. RS-232 communication speed is 20 kilobits per second to 250 kilobits per second, but RS-485 have 100 kilobits per second to 35 megabits per second. In the communication speed, if you see, RS-232 is lesser speed compared to RS-485. If you see the communication distance, RS-232 you can use up to maximum 50 meter, but RS-485 we can use till 1200 meter. RS-232 can communicate only between the two devices, but RS-485 we can connect up to 255 devices. Both are not having the specified connectors. So we can use the connectors to convert to the any other signals. RS-232 is using 0 to 15 volts, but in case of RS-485 it is using 0 volts to 5 volts. Suppose if you want to communicate only between the two devices, then we'll go with the RS-232 if it is between the 50 meter. And if you want to communicate more than two devices, then we'll go with the RS-485.